The celebration on Friday went ahead as planned despite bad weather. While most of the traditional activities had to be cancelled, the celebration took the form of a reenactment of the arrival in 1823, a solidarity mass of Thanksgiving, and limited street parades primarily in Garifuna communities in the south. This year, organizers went to great lengths to make sure the reenactment was as realistic as possible to what actually happened when Alejo Beni first attempted to come ashore.
What are they doing and what do they want? Lieutenant, take your guns. We don't need these type of people here. Send them away. Go on, send them away.
History records that Beni, who led the group that sailed to Belize from the Bay Islands of Honduras, was denied permission to come ashore 3 times before the then colonial governor relented and allowed them to set up settlement in what is now Dangriga. From there, the Garinagu people have flourished in Belize and today play an integral role in the country's development, serving in the teaching profession as police officers and Belize Defense Force soldiers, farmers and fishermen. During the official ceremonies at Asogi PG Central Park, Prime Minister Dean Barrow said it is important that all be done to preserve the rich Garifuna culture for future generations.
Everybody recognizes the outstanding contribution of the Garinagu to the life and progress and development of our nation. And I salute those contributions that have been accumulated in such wonderful numbers over the years.
The theme of Mr. Barrow's near 10-minute-long speech centered on the preservation of the Garifuna culture. In 2001, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO declared the Garifuna language, dance and music as masterpieces of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity.
As a Belizean, I am as proud of the Garifuna culture as anyone can be. As a Belizean, I recognize the absolute vitality, the absolute dynamism, the absolute beauty of that culture. And as a Belizean, I want to challenge you together with Mrs. Locario. Let us do everything possible to preserve and to protect and to advance that culture.
The Prime Minister said that in an age where indigenous cultures around the world are under threat, the people of Belize, particularly the Garifuna people, must rise to the challenge of keeping the culture alive.
We must be equal to the challenge because, as an absolute certainty, the Garifuna culture is one that is eminently worth preserving. The global acknowledgement of the wondrous splendor of the Garifuna culture is something that ought to inspire us to do everything possible, everything in our power to make sure that this great ancient culture is preserved and is promoted and is taken forward from generation to generation. Let there be this vital Garifuna culture for as long as there is a country called Belize. And let that be forever.
During the Mass of Thanksgiving, the Reverend Callistus Cayetano noted that 200 years after their arrival, the Garinagu in Belize are still living with the effects of prejudice and isolation. But, he said, there is a new era of freedom which all should embrace wholeheartedly. The cleric noted that sadly, increasing numbers of Garifuna men and boys are falling victim to crime and violence and are being lost to gangs and prison. He challenged young people, particularly Garifuna youths, to live up to good Garifuna principles, including getting a good education. Reporting for Love News, I am Patrick Jones.